Welcome everyone. This is our rundown of the first five. God, there you go. I've
First
screwed
five.
up already. First five Star Trek: Strange New World TV show. My name's Sloan Kelly,
And my name is James Baker.
and Jody has declined this because he's not a Star Trek fan, not as much as us, anyway.
No, not at all.
And obviously, James is celebrating by wearing a Star Wars T-shirt. So, so this is the first new Enterprise Star Trek in forever, since Next Generation, I think.
Yeah, for TV.
For TV, yeah, true, yeah, for TV, yeah, because we had the
TV.
film series,
Yep. Uh-huh.
which we don't know if it's coming back or not.
Hopefully it will. Hopefully it will, because I've enjoyed them.
Mm-hmm.
Enjoyed them a heck of a lot. I don't know if a hot take on it is I really enjoyed it.
I did as well. Yeah, I mean, we were talking. We'll get into it in just a minute. Some of the earlier episodes, I was racking my brain as to what actually happened because I mentioned that we should do this show, and I was racking my brain thinking, "What the hell was this episode about?" And so some of them aren't memorable as much as original Star Trek, like Encounter at Farpoint, or well, that's not original Star Trek, but you know what I mean, or The Edge of Tomorrow you were watching the other day, the original series one. But it's nice to go back to that era of Star Trek with the colorful uniforms. It's nice to see the Enterprise on a TV show again. It's nice to see the Enterprise before Kirk.
Yep.
Make an appearance at some point. And they do a nice little bait and switch. I think it's the first or second episodes as well. They talk about Lieutenant Kirk coming on board.
Yes,
that's a nice bait and switch as
well.
Yeah, and it's also pre Scotty as well, and it's also pre Spock being number one because he's not number one in this. He's just a science officer.
Yeah.
So it was nice seeing all of that. But this is a spin-off of Discovery. You watched Discovery, so.
I was a big fan of Discovery.
Yeah.
So they come on at the climax to the season finale of season 1 of Discovery. They'd entered into some kind of, I don't know, temporal anomaly or whatever thing they had to enter into, and all of a sudden there was this like, oh, we're getting an incoming transmission, blah blah blah. This is like the closing seconds, and then they were like, oh, what's the configuration? You know, what's its call sign? I can't remember what they call it, but and then they had a screen coming
designation.
Up,
I think it's called. That's
it. Yeah. And it was like one of those really nice computer screens where I could stand this side, but you could see me, and it was just going. It looked like you just pulled the one-arm bandit, and you're waiting it to come up, and it was like the NCC 1701, and you're like, it's the Enterprise, and we're like, yeah.
No A, no B, no C, no bloody D.
I know, it was just so, and then it was just really nice. And then so I've started. I haven't got too far into it. Actually, started watching season 2 again because that's the Pike Enterprise kind of season where he ends up commandeering the Discovery.
Oh, I see. Okay,
being the superior officer, because at that time they're without a captain.
Right.
So, so. And his hair is totally different.
Oh,
go back and watch season 2. Totally different.
He's got quite the quiff. In fact,
his hair is magic in this TV show. I love his hair.
It's amazing. So yeah, this is the crew here. And again, this is 5 years before his terrible. Spoilers if you haven't seen a 50-year-old TV show. Pike appears. Captain Pike first appears in the pilot episode of Star Trek.
Yep. I think it's called Pilot, is it not?
I think it's called Pilot, yeah. They were really good back with names in those back in the day. And it's actually a tragic story about the guy that was Robert. I should know his name now, but he didn't have a good life off screen. And so it's a bit of a tragedy off screen as well. But it's kind of mirrored by Pike because he ends up in this like cast iron wheelchair type thing because he has this terrible accident, and this Pike knows about that accident is going to befall him which is kind
he
of
could
interesting.
be the leader of the Daleks, almost in his.
Could be Davros, yeah.
Yeah, that's right.
A Davros thing.
Davros.
Yeah. But yeah, this is the crew here. So we've got Uhura over here. We've got Ortega, who's the helmsman. Spock, Hemmer, who is an Andorian, I think.
Yes, he's an Andorian. Yeah, a blind Andorian.
Blind Andorian. And the actor's blind in real life as well.
Oh, I did not know that.
Yeah, the actor is
That
blind
is
in real life.
very nice. Of course,
First sightless actor ever to play a major role in Star Trek. I don't know, but not in anything else, but in Star Trek anyway.
No way.
Pike, of course, there. What's her name? Romjan.
Number one.
Yeah, number one. Riley. We'll get Nurse Christine Chapel.
Nurse Chapel.
And then we've got Noonien-Singh, who's the security officer. And then Dr. Umbego, who's chief medical officer.
Yep.
And that's the crew. There you go.
That's
them. And I thought they did a good job as well, because they introduced the crew kind of one at a time through the course of the first series. There's only 10 episodes. We should probably talk about those episodes now. So yeah. Yeah, Rebecca Romjan, that's who plays Riley.
That's it. She's had a bit of a past with superhero movies, hasn't she?
Was she not in Species as well? And
yeah, she's had a couple of sexy roles, has she not? She
was Mystique as well.
Yes, Mystique, the original Mystique.
She was in The Punisher.
The Punisher. That's where I've first seen her. No, I think she's a great, quite a formidable number one. Yeah,
I've got to say the cast. I don't think I don't have a fault with any of the cast themselves. The characters, I got a bit of a problem with some of them. The Doctor for me is a bit. It's a bit reminds me too much of Pulsakis. Not in any way like Pulsakis, but I didn't like Pulsakis either. So. It's the same with this guy. It's like his character just rubs me. I don't know what it is about the character.
Well, I hope he gets much better than Pulsakis.
Oh my God!
I hope. I struggled in the first couple of episodes to hear him, to make out what he was saying. I just thought he was like really, really mumbling and quiet, and I found it quite distracting. But I found towards the end, maybe I don't know, from episode 4, maybe I was like, I know I can hear him better there. So I don't know if they've done something, or
he certainly gets.
I don't know.
I don't want to spoil the later on part of it, but he certainly does get a lot better after a particular episode.
Yes.
As far as like being a bit more forthright with his ideas, because he's almost apologetic coming across at times, I think.
Yeah, I think he felt guilty for a reason. By the way, we probably should just say we're probably just going to spoil this.
We're going to spoil the crap out of this. So
so there's no point in watching this if you've not watched it.
If you haven't watched it, you're going to get spoiled left, right, and center with this one. So yeah, Strange New Worlds is the premiere episode of this show. It's a monster of the week essentially show. It's one new adventure every single week. And how do you feel about that format? I'm
all right with it. Yeah, quite happy with it. And I think so. Obviously, original series is going to be basically Monster of the Week or Planet of the Week. Their Next Gen was mostly like that, but then they started to do a lot more of the 2-parters, and I think maybe it wasn't them. They did a 3-part. They did do a 3-parter perhaps, but anyway, it was mostly. But there was always this overriding arc, especially towards 4, 5, and 6, and season 7 of Next Gen.
Yeah, season 7 was basically the same. Was almost. The same. There was a couple of nice episodes. There was Parallels, which was a great episode, and then there was the Remember Me, I think it was called, the one with Dr. Crusher. She was stuck in like a bubble universe, and it was getting smaller and smaller.
Yep.
Yeah.
So, anyway, listen, I'm going off on a tangent here. I like the episodes. I like the way they're doing it, and it feels like it's original Star Trek.
It does.
It feels a lot. Feels a lot lighter. And I think one of the things you were saying is you struggle to remember some of the first episodes. I think that's what you get sometimes if it's like Monster of the Week. I think it's one of these things that might end up being you can just stick it on in the background and dip in and there if you want.
Because we watched it a lot, and my wife is a huge Star Trek fan, and so she was asking me questions about in later episodes, like All Those Who Wander and Quality of Mercy. It was doing callbacks to like previous episodes. She's like, "And who's this again?" I'm like, "I can't remember."
Yeah.
I'm going. It doesn't matter. It's like you're watching it for the entertainment, and for that, I think it was a great job they did of it. And there's callbacks to a lot of classic Trek in here as well, a lot of the classic episodes, but they've redone them well, I think.
Yeah, I think if you want it to be deep and meaningful, it can be. But I think if you don't need it to be, I don't think if you don't need it to be, then it's not. Yeah. It's just like happy-go-lucky. I think if I was to sit and, I'm back. Are you back?
You're back. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay. I've just said I'll get a lot of time to watch it at Christmas, so I think I'll just sit and rewatch the whole lot at Christmas, and I'll probably watch it with a different frame of mind. Like I'm kind of going to get into this and maybe dig under the layers a wee bit. I think you can do that with this.
I think so. Yeah.
Enough there, but also I don't think you need to do that with this.
Yeah.
Whereas Discovery, it's all in every episode. It's
but it's like an overarching political story and all this kind of stuff as well.
And this is just straight up good fun. I prefer Discovery because I feel more emotionally attached to everyone, and I feel like I'm going to cry, like all that stuff. Where I wasn't even close to tearing up for this, but I really enjoyed this. I think I needed this.
Yeah. I think in this one you realize that it's not like Battlestar Galactica where like your favorite character is going to die at the end of this. Like that's not the case in this show. It's very much a sort of nick of time gets rescued. And that's fine because you want to see them next week.
Good storytelling in this. Good storytelling.
Solid, actually. I mean, I said they weren't memorable, but some of them weren't memorable. But at the time of viewing, I really enjoyed every single episode. I was like, "Oh, I've got to wait another week."
It does what it says in the tin. It does what it says in the tin, and I'm all right with that. So,
Strange New Worlds. Did the Spock's disguise gets taken away from him? Trope.
Yes.
Which is great. So they did. They went down a very kind of similar story to the remember the gangsters. That story. So
the gangster world.
Yeah, so it's a kind of mop up from Discovery. So apparently Discovery went through the atmosphere, it was the other Discovery, not that Discovery. It was this era's Discovery. Went through the upper atmosphere, and they went, "Ooh, what's that?" And then they sort of decided to build a religion on it, and then they reverse engineered warp drives.
Yes.
So they had to disguise themselves to basically go in and steal. It was a heist, basically. So they had to. Riley got captured by them as a spy. Riley, not Ace of Spies, and so they had to go back down and get her, and also capture the plans. And in true Star Trek fashion, Spock goes down. The disguise falls off, so to speak.
That's it.
And your man gets exposed.
I like the fact that when his disguise disappeared, he was just like, there's like, the pain is excruciating. And then he was like,
yes.
For like, I don't know, 3 or 4 seconds.
It was a long time.
That's me. I'm done now. I'm all right.
Yeah. But he goes back completely like Spock. Like not even remotely like with the wee kind of, the like freckle pattern they had on. No, none of that. Just Spock. Same haircut, everything. Because I think he had like a kind of swept back kind of quiff kind of thing going on. That was so good. The episode ends with them looking at the shape of NCC 1701. Going like, oh, now we can build starships because they took like detailed pictures of their starship. So
that's right. I tell you what, for someone who's saying some of the episodes weren't that memorable, really.
I know. Yeah.
Know.
Well, I kind of, I remember bits of it. I don't remember how they got. I don't remember why Riley got on the plate, why she was involved in the planet, but the whole. That's the bit I'm a bit confused about. Is like, so April comes to see him. Actually, his the woman that played Wyatt Earp, Winona Earp, she appears in the last episode as well. She comes to see him, and they have breakfast
that's
together.
Right.
And then April comes to visit him as well.
It's quite kitcheny, isn't it? This TV show.
Yeah, we should maybe talk about that actually.
A lot of stuff takes place in the kitchen.
Yeah, the captain's always cooking something for his senior crew.
And they set it up before, if he's in this kind of self-imposed exile that he's in, it's the opening shot is him just cracking an egg into a bowl and then just whipping it up and just making food. And that kind of sets the tone for maybe in Next Gen, they're all sitting in 10 forward to kind of maybe give you the extra bits of information to move the story forward, but they're always in his kitchen. Always in his kitchen. He's always making something.
Here's the other thing as well. So the captain's quarters in the original Enterprise, Kirk era Enterprise, the original series Enterprise, was not big. I mean, it was modest. I think. You had a bed and there was a day room and there was like a kind of partition there. He's got like a sitting room, a conference table, like a set that Julia Childs would be enamored with for a kitchen, and then he's got an open fire.
An actual fire pit. We just need to be all right with that.
Okay.
you just
and massive sloping ceilings as well. So it's obviously in the saucer section, this thing, because it's like just really sloping ceilings.
We're okay with that. Like that. It's like that beach at Wakanda. You just need to be all right with
that. If you don't understand that reference, you go back and watch the podcast on Sunday. Yeah. I mean, even the ensign's quarters was quite spacious, I thought, because you get a glimpse of them when you see Uhura in the next episode.
She's great, by the way, Uhura.
Yeah, she is actually. Yeah, I was a bit because it's always.
Sure? You sure?
It's always worrying, I think, when you because I mean, Nichelle Nichols, who obviously we lost recently. Like when you think of Uhura, you think of her. I don't think of Zoe Saldana when I think of Lieutenant Uhura. I think of Nichelle Nichols. So it's weird seeing another person in that role, but yeah, she's actually really good. And I like the whole linguistics route that they've gone, because I think did they do that with the original Uhura? I don't know if they gave her much of a backstory.
Not really. No. No. I just think she's done. There's one episode later on, and I'm sure we'll talk about it. But it seemed a fitting episode, and it was read about the time. Well, we got it over here that she passed away, but we can discuss that at the time. I thought she's done a great job, and I love the look, and I love the outfits that she's been wearing. Like when she first boarded the Enterprise, she seemed to have this kind of amazingly sporty kind of jumpsuit, and it was a really striking red with black and the badge. She looked great, and her haircuts. Really good, like a haircut.
The 4-bar thing as well going as well, and she doesn't have like the full insignia as well because she's an ensign. That her character it kind of reminded me a bit like of Hoshi Sato from Enterprise because she was a linguist as well. And that's how she got the communications officer job. But I guess, I guess if you're doing like deep space stuff and you've not, where no one has gone before, you kind of want a linguist out there.
But a cunning one at that.
A cunning linguist, yes. She gets to shine in the next episode, though.
Children of the Comet.
Children of the Comet.
I think that's the one I kind of really sat up and took notice.
Yeah.
I was like, that's a wee bit different.
Yeah, that was. I really liked that one as well. There was a lot of stuff going on in that one. From the baddies.
That was her episode.
Yeah, the baddies are going, no, you can't touch this. This is our sacred comet. And then the Enterprise is like, it's going to hit that planet. And they're like, maybe it will, maybe it won't.
No.
Who's to say?
That's what it wishes. Yeah. That was a good episode.
Klaatu's will or whatever it is.
I had to go back and watch, I don't know, 5 to 10 minutes per episode just to kind of give myself a bit of a refresher. But yeah, I do remember enjoying that one. Yeah, it was good. And she had her job to do on the planet, and their outfits were good. Their outfits kind of reminded me of some kind of chainmail, like some kind of, ye olde times.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
You know that what's that Ridley Scott program that you and Jodie like, and I don't really like it that much.
Raised by Wolves.
Raised by Wolves.
Yeah.
It reminded me of the armor they had, kind of.
Oh yeah, yeah. Uh-huh.
When they went planet side.
Yeah, here we go. No, it's not an image. That one there. That's the one I want. I mean, yeah, it's very similar to that. It's got a kind of chainmail-y feel to it.
Aye,
but they're quite scaly. Their uniforms as well. Although it's not scales, it's Starfleet insignia that's on them.
Oh right, okay.
But yeah, they're quite scaly there. Yeah, there's
Spock, that scaly uniform stuff. That started with the Amazing Spider-Man. Sorry to change franchises. Like when his first, yeah, that's kind of where that started. Like that really gave it a different feel.
Yeah, it gives you that, but it gives you that kind of texture. I mean, it's just, other than just having like color, it just looks a little bit better than just a plain color. It gives you something to kind of look at, and it moves with the person's arm and stuff. So.
Yeah. So they say about the children of the comet. I'm reading this off Paramount Plus. While on a survey mission, the USS Enterprise discovers a comet is going to strike an inhabited planet. They try to reroute the comet, only to find that an ancient alien relic, and I can't read the rest. It's kind of cut off, but it does give you like an insight into what the episode's about. I think definitely one of the more memorable ones.
100%, yeah. That was the first one. The first one's enough to hook you in, where it's like, okay, it's kind of familiar. It's the whole heist thing where you got to get a crew member out. Very similar to the Orville's got a couple of episodes like that as well, and this one was very, very different to anything I think we've seen on Star Trek before. Please comment below. Definitely. I'm sure there's probably like some Enterprise one out there.
I know. I'm sure you'll find.
I know exactly. Well, actually, there was one episode where Miles O'Brien and Kieran Reith went onto the planet B5982-5, and they were there with the emissary, and oh god, yes, I'm sure there was. But yeah, this is the Children of the Corn. Sorry, Deep Space Nine fans out there. Children of did I say Children of the Corn there? Children of the Comet.
You did say Children of the Corn. Children of the Comet.
Great episode. Like the visual effects in there were really good as well. Like the visual effects in this show have been pretty damn good.
By the way, they're heavy using Paramount's volume, and it's called something else. I think it's called The Wall or something.
Okay.
And I've seen it, and it'll be the same thing they use for Discovery that they use for this. And it feels a lot bigger than the volume, and I don't think it's a full 360, where I think the volume is.
I think it is, or
this feels like a 180, or this feels like a 180 or a 270. But it feels like if the volume was, I don't know how to circumference of that, theirs feels like it's got maybe the same wall space, but it feels really big.
So is that how they do the view screen then?
I don't know, because I've not seen that bit. I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think that's how they do the view screen.
When they say on screen or whatever it is, and they've got this massive like scape behind them, it looks amazing.
I think they use it. You can definitely tell if they're on planet and they're using it.
Right. Okay.
And you can definitely, like in season 4 of Discovery, there was a lot of stuff in a hangar, like just a massive thing where the ships were landing all the time. It was huge. And then
Oh,
when you
okay.
go and look at behind the scenes, it was just like, oh right, you can see
Right.
this, but they actually felt like they were there.
Okay. So that is kind of similar to the volume, and it's the same with there was a couple of episodes where you go to engineering and it just goes on, and there was a hangar one as well on
It's
the
all the hangar
Enterprise,
stuff.
and it just looks like it goes on forever, and there's a bit outside and stuff. So yeah, in fact, I think it was all those who wander. That episode. Yeah, Children of Comet, great, and it gets into the sort of theological discussions as well with this group of aliens decide to not do anything with it, and then they start firing the Enterprise as well, because the Enterprise is trying to interfere with this what they think is a benign comet, but then they realize that there's something on there. They've got to go rescue it.
Aye, so good episode for sure. So you ready to move on to the next one?
Yeah.
Ghosts of Illyria.
Yeah. So this is.
So I think this starts off with them, with Pike and was it Pike and Spock on the planet?
Yes.
Is there a storm brewing? I've got the right one, haven't I?
There's a storm brewing, yeah, and they can see it in the distance, and it's doing that kind of big clouds crackling on a light and that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's like the Enterprise has got to come down and pick them up.
Yeah,
but then,
pretty much. And they're just stranded there.
But then at that point, everyone decides to come down with the flu. Or whatever it is. Romulan
gastroenteritis.
Norwalk. Both ends.
So just before we go any further, Noonien-Singh, obviously some relative to Khan.
Yeah.
What's the script there? I mean, have I missed something? I mean, is she
enhanced? I think
she's
enhanced. Is that not what they are?
Did they not super?
Yeah.
But obviously, at this point, no one knows who Khan is.
Yeah.
Khan should be asleep on that.
Should be in SS Botany Bay.
Botany Bay, that's it.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, that's exactly what it is.
Yeah, because it's not.
I think it's USS Botany Bay.
I think you'll find it's.
Yeah, I think. I'll tell you what, I know.
Can't Noonien-Singh.
That's it.
Buried
this is one where number one's the only one that doesn't come down with the fever, and they all need the light
with whatever it is. Yeah. Was it brought on from the planet? Is that where they got it from? I think it was brought on from the planet, because they were doing it in groups because they couldn't. I'm guessing at this now. I can't remember. This is how I would write the episode if it's not how it's done. So they had to bring them up in groups, and of course, Kirk and Spock are the most senior. So they're like, "We'll go last. You guys go first."
Pike and Spock.
Sorry. Yeah, whatever. Pike and Spock. They decide to go last, and then everybody comes aboard and go, "Oh, no, we're too sick to operate the transporter," so they have to find shelter. And luckily, they find the only library in the place. And they run in there, and they get sheltered from there, and then they realize that the storm's coming down on them, and it's all bad news bears. So Riley, she has to work with the Doctor, who's like Norwalking himself out. I remember this, right?
Yes, yeah, I totally.
And she has to like go around and sort of tend to the wounded kind of thing, and that's her kind of compassionate storyline bit thing. That's her episode this week.
And everyone's wearing biker jackets.
And everyone's wearing biker jackets.
Standard issue Starfleet biker jackets.
If you can read that, she's teleported off.
Something like
that.
So No, I like this episode again. Totally, I just really enjoyed watching it. Was it particularly memorable? No, not really. But
yeah, I can't remember. I remember vaguely the end of it. In the lightning starts to attack them, and then they realize that I think what we'd realized 10 pages before them, that these were the colonists, and they weren't really attacking them. They were trying to warn them.
Yeah.
So yeah.
Yeah.
The people are lightning now. Okay, they're light beings, and it's all of a sudden the lightning becomes slightly more like human form.
Yeah,
that kind
a
of
little bit friendlier,
a little bit friendlier, and they're going like, "Oh, these people are lovely."
Great episodes, but out of the ones I've watched so far, Children of the Comet, that's the better one.
Aye, yeah.
That's the
so far one. that was my favorite one out of the three, out of the first half of it. And the other two that we've got is what's her face? Noonien-Singh's Noonien-Singh's story, which is Memento Mori, which is the introducing of what I think is going to be
the new Borg.
The new Borg.
Yeah.
This is they're introducing the Gorn as you've never seen them before. In fact, do you get to see them in this episode?
You don't, because
no, you don't.
a little
right.
Whilst Faith isn't into Star Trek at all.
She did want to see what Gorn looked like.
Well, we watched the Gorn episode because it was in Big Bang Theory. They spoke about the Gorn a fair bit.
Oh, did they go out to the rocks?
They go out to the rocks, but they're dressed in next gen stuff. But we do talk about the Gorn, and so we sat and watched it, and I was like, Faith, this is possibly the worst and the best episode of Star Trek ever. That's exactly. So she sat and watched it, and she was like that, and then she watched another episode that she'd seen on Young Sheldon. She was like, Dad, when I watched Young Sheldon, I was like, I've seen that episode of the original Star Trek before. She's watching it ironically, but that's how I started watching Star Trek, ironically, to kind of slag it off. And then I was just like, before I knew it, I was like 10 episodes deep, and I'm like, I can't stop watching this program. So anyway, we watched it, and then we watched this episode, which quite a few aliens references. I mean, it was quite aliens-ish.
More so the later Gorn episode.
Is it the later one? I might be getting it mixed up. But there was one of them.
Memento Mori they're being hunted by these 3 ships, I think it is.
Right.
And they're around a black hole, if I remember rightly.
You're right.
And there's there's an asteroid field or something as well. There's some other thing as well. And they're basically
these ships. Yeah, this was quite space battle-y, wasn't it? The first one.
Yeah.
Because Faith sat with me, and this is the only episode of Strange New Worlds she fully watched, because she was like, Dad, do you think we're going to get to see the Gorn? And I was like, I just friggin' love you. But you actually, I was like, can we see the Gorn? So we certainly watched it with us, but it's quite space battle, and I'm totally fine with it. I enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, new Star Trek. I don't know about Discovery, but I think Picard does it as well. They're not afraid to use the third dimension in space, which is good, because there's nothing worse than watching, like, although there is one episode where I was like, really, and it's is it Equality of Mercy, the one where they face off against another foe, and all the ships appear on one side and all their ships appear on the other side, and I'm like, really?
All the cargo ships, all the freight ships.
That one. Yeah, I was like, really? Because before that, they've been doing these kind of space battles where they're coming up like that from there, which what's his face Riker does in season 7 of The Next Generation.
There's a lot of those. There's a lot of those kind of, as opposed you just expect the ship to fly like that or like this or like that. There's a lot of kind of
there is kind of dogfight, kind of like pulling back, kind of like helicopter type stuff.
Yes, they must have studied that for sure.
Yeah.
By the way, I'm just remembering, number 1's quite a formidable size. They end up finding something out about her, do they not? Like she's actually a super.
Yeah, she's part of. She was part of the colony on Illyria, which is why they went there, because they were visiting her folks or whatever it was, and they find out that she used genetic modification or something to enhance herself, and of course that's like not allowed in the Federation. You have to. It's Federations come as you are, basically, so you can't use any enhancements. And so she's basically an outlaw, and that's the that's sort of setting something up for later on in the series. Maybe, who knows? Watch out for part 2 of this. But yeah, I think that's the reason why they go to Illyria, which is like an old mining colony of her people, her clan, or whatever it is. But yeah, Memento Mori, that's the first look we get at the Gorn, and they're vicious. They're not nice at all.
Super vicious.
Yeah, and they don't take no for an answer. So, but it does a lot
What is Memento Mori? I mean, does that have any significance? Is it Latin? Is it?
Remember me. I think remember me, or
is it? Okay.
Yeah, I think so. Memento Mori. Remember, there you go. Remember that you must die. The Latin phrase Memento Mori literally means remember that you must die. The phrase has its origins in ancient Rome, where they believed that slaves accompanying generals in victory parades whispered the words as a reminder of their commander's mortality to prevent them from being consumed by hubris.
Remember you must die. Interesting.
What is
it? There's what's the Vasquez, and she's got her breastplate, or chest plate.
Yeah,
she's got something on there, but it's not in Latin, and it's in Spanish. What's that?
Oh, okay.
Heidi knows it, but she's asleep, so I can't ask her. All these cool phrases.
El riesgo siempre vive. The risk always lives.
That's it. I knew it, something like that.
The risk always lives. There you go. So in other words, there's always bad things out there? Is that what it means?
Something like that.
Okay.
So the risk always lives versus remember to die.
Remember you're going to die. Cheery stuff.
yeah.
But so the reason why this episode is important is because the Enterprise is playing cat and mouse, or the Gorn are playing cat and mouse with the Enterprise, and Noonien-Singh is reminded of she was basically captured by the Gorn, and what they do is they put eggs in you, and then they hatch like aliens.
Yeah, and you'll see that later on.
Yeah, but what they do is they put you in this like maze almost, and they sort of toy with you, and they sort of chase you down to where the sort of the ovipositor is, or whatever it is, and it cuts back to her and her brother, I think it is.
Yeah, she keeps on having this kind of flashback thing where she feels she's let him down.
Yes, and eventually he's like, "Go, run for your life, Charlie, run!" And sort of pushes her out the road, and then sort of takes the heat in all of that. But yeah, it's kind of.
I think up until this episode, I kind of felt like it was a bit kind of maybe PG-ish. But this episode shows quite a lot of like people dealing with field dressings, and quite a bit more gory, a bit more 15-ish.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, certainly. Yeah, this one and I can imagine kids being terrified by the second Gorn episode as well. I don't think that kids would enjoy that one because it is, especially when it goes into Predator vision.
I know.
Which is like, okay, that's interesting. Considering they're not enhanced, I mean the Predator is enhanced because they've got the the goggles and stuff like that. But yeah, kind of weird.
I'm surprised when it switched to it didn't go bam 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 bam. Which actually that's the Terminator now. Sorry.
Yeah, that's the, yeah.
No, I don't. I'm getting mixed up. I'm getting completely mixed up. Forget it.
It's a kind of disco chilled. Yeah, that's it.
I thought Hemmer was good in this episode, and I he's just like that grumpy old git that maybe works down your work.
Yeah,
that's actually all right.
Yeah, he's fine once you get to know him, but it's getting to know him's a bit tricky. Yeah,
I know. So he's kind of like that guy where you just definitely you just can't be bothered with him. But see, when you've had a fight with your best pal at work, he's the guy you go to.
Yeah,
and he's like, I always knew he was a dick. See that pal you've been hanging about with for ages?
Yeah.
Always knew that guy was a dick.
Yeah.
So listen, see this episode. They were all wearing these badges. I can't remember what the badges they're wearing. Why?
Oh, that's right. Yeah, they're wearing like campaign badges or something.
And there was something.
What was it? National something day of morning or something. Morning or something. I think it is. Yeah.
Do you know what? I'm going to say something really obvious here. I do quite enjoy that. See when any ship's under attack, all of a sudden your console explodes, and all of a sudden, you could just be something shot at your ship, right, and your shields might be down to 5%, and then all of a sudden your console drastically explodes.
What? Why? I don't understand. So your idea of safety is to put a plasma conduit behind a piece of perspex glass, and you think that's safe? That makes no sense. The USS Discovery, the USS Shenzhou, Antares, Puget Sound, all these Cayuga, Yangtze, Excalibur, Farragut, Palanque, and Gallant. Those are the pins that get used in this particular episode. So it's Remembrance Day is what the episode is. So hence the looking back and remembrance.
I like Spock still looks into his little viewfinder.
Yeah. And also, I like the way that it gets projected on, because it was blue light that get projected into Leonard Nimoy's face, but they actually have a projection of a map, and you can see things moving. So
yeah, I like that.
No expense spared on the special effects in this.
Definitely.
It's weird as well. Sorry.
No, just gonna say they've done a good job in this episode. I like it.
Yeah, I was going to say that in the Next Generation they had these pads, and they would basically get they would print it out in acetate, and they would do this kind of stuff, and then post they would have some animation over the top of it. And now all they do is they just redress an iPad. Here you go. It's the technology's caught up with Star Trek.
I know.
Now.
Yeah.
So it's not unheard of. It's weird as well because I remember talking with Anime and saying I remember there's an episode where, in fact, it's Lower Decks. It's Lower Decks, where Riker's doing evaluations, and he's got two big pads, and he's got a little pad, and he's got his screen open. I'm going who would have that? And I'm maybe me now, because I've got two monitors here, I've got one here, I've got my iPad here, I've got another screen here which has got other displays on it, and I've got my computer over there. So yeah, turns out me, I would have that. So thanks, Riker.
Anyway, a good episode, quite
good
thrilling,
episode, yeah.
And definitely enjoyable. Definitely up for watching that again for sure. So.
Yeah. Definitely.
So what's the next one? Spock Amok.
Spock Amok. So this is the last one we're going to talk about. This is the 5th episode, which is a personal visit causes a comedy of errors during Spock and Pike's critical negotiations with an unusual alien species. I can't remember the alien species. I remember vaguely. Do they swap bodies in this one?
Yes, they swap bodies.
Okay.
Yeah.
It is this. Okay, it is that one.
I kind of thought this episode was all right.
It was okay.
It was all right. I'm giving it a 5 or a 6 out of 10. I do.
Yeah.
I'll give, I know we done the D23 thing the other day, and I was very harsh on everything. I am not harsh on Star Trek at all.
No.
If it's the crappiest episode, I will still like, oh, you've done really, really well. It's all right.
Good. You turned
I'm still
up.
here. I still love you so much. I am so forgiving when it comes to Star Trek. And I think literally anything else, I'm just like, that's rubbish.
I'm forgiving if I like the Star Trek show, so I'll quite happily forgive. I'm Picard season 2. I was a bit more forgiving with because I actually stuck with it, which is more than I have done with any other Star Trek show in recent memory. So yeah, I was a bit forgiving with that one, but that's only I kind of missed Picard, but I still think that I didn't get to see Picard. I just got to see some old guy running about space. I don't know. It just felt a bit weird to me. This feels like Star Trek. The characters are Spock. The guy that plays Spock. Who's the guy that plays Spock?
Ethan Peck. Ethan Peck. Yeah.
I think he does a great job as Spock. Like, I mean, we've had 3 actors now that have played Spock, or 3 main actors that have played Spock, with Leonard Nimoy, Zachary Quinto, and now this Ethan Peck guy. And I think he's done a great job of it. Like, it's difficult shoes to go in to put on.
But by the way, can we just comment on the opening scene episode, Spock Amok? It's the they have that battle, and it's usually they use the
music.
Love that.
It's fantastic. But you have to use the music. It's the law. They used it in Cable Guy.
Oh, did they?
As well, yeah. They used it in
and it's quite
Guy.
Interesting because they show him in the beginning without his makeup.
Oh, right.
Okay. Without his, like, because remember the two of them, it's Spock versus Spock. But it's only in his mind.
Oh, that's right.
So it's full Vulcan
versus.
I know they said full Zachary Quinto, but I should say, what's his name? Ethan Peck. Ethan Peck.
Yeah.
But they use the actual Star Trek music, and I remember at the beginning of this episode being like, "Oh wow, this is amazing!" And then they swap bodies, and I was like, "Oh, it's not a body swap, but I still love it. I still really, really love you. So, oh, you've done well." What was that?
Apparently, I said Freaky Friday as well, and Alexa was quick to tell me what Freaky Friday was. Spock Amok obviously is referencing Amok Time episode.
Yeah,
that one where it goes back to, and T'Pring does him nasty in that one. Because she brings him back to marry him, and she goes, "Actually, I've got this other guy," but she doesn't even do that. She says, "I want you to fight your captain to the death." She's not.
That's right. That's where nice. I know.
So that's kind of weird. They also is this the first time we meet someone else related to Spock, or is that a later episode?
Who are you talking about? We're spoiling it anyway, so.
I know, yeah. I don't know why I'm beating around the bush. Cyborg. Is this the episode where we meet Cyborg?
Oh, I can't remember.
At the very end. No, I think it might be the second time round. It's the prison episode. I think it's the prison episode, which is the Serene Squall, I think, or something like that.
What do you think of Nurse Chapel?
I mean, she's all right.
She's all right.
It's okay. She's fine. It's all right.
Because see, after we finish talking about this episode, I want to go through with you and see what you think of everyone. Just a kind of just a quick kind of rundown on what you think of them and who's your favourite almost. I quite like the Doctor when he wears his fishing cap. Yeah,
it was kind of funny. He goes to talk to Chapel about something or other. I can't remember what it is.
I started to like him more at this point. I quite liked him.
I started to like him more once the cloud had come over. uh, yeah, Spock Amok was okay. It was a weird body flippy thing because T'Pring wanted to have sex with him the human way, and he's like, "Ooh," all that kind of stuff. So yeah, it was
a bit
typical,
saucy.
very typical body swap type episode, which we've seen 100 times before. Red Dwarf did it better. Just saying. But yeah, that's I'm dying now to get to the cast. So yeah, I think for the first 5 episodes, a good solid start to the show.
Absolutely. If I would recommend, and I know you might not be a fan of Discovery, but if you are into, didn't they play like Enterprise Bingo?
Yes, there's Enterprise Bingo with the ensigns, I think it is.
Yeah. And then they kind of give them into fake trouble, and then they were like, "Let's go and try this." By the way,
yes, and
that's kind of
that's
comedic.
when Riley and Noonien-Singh end up on the deck plates at the outside. That's that's the Spock Amok episode, isn't it?
Yes, yeah. This is this episode.
Yeah. That's
so
actually
this holds quite a lot of comedy doing that. Oh, it's just like it was really, really lighthearted. There was nothing really. The what? Sorry.
The B story.
The B story is better. That stuff's quite fun. So, overall, good show. Good show. Looking forward to season 2. More Star Trek, the better.
Yeah, because at the very end of it, they're standing outside just after they've signed the deck plate, and they look up and the Solar Sailor goes by.
Yes,
that was nice.
Definitely. So, right. Listen, I'm going to quiz you about what your.
Aye.
You comment on one, and I'll comment on one. What do you think of Spock?
I think I genuinely think he's really good as Spock. I think he's believable as Spock as well. I think Zachary Quinto does a better. Arguably, I think does a better job of Spock. But this guy's pretty good as well.
Yep, I'd say that, and I got that from Discovery, and I would definitely recommend if you're a bit hungry for a bit of strange new worlds, just go watch Discovery season 2. It's basically the for this.
The what do they call it? Backdoor pilot? Is that what they call it now?
That's it. Backdoor pilot, 100%. So, what do you think of Ortega? So I'm still getting used to the names and
Erica.
And the characters.
I like her. I think she's funny. She reminds me so much of Scott Grimes's character in The Orville.
Right. Okay.
Similar. I think he's Helm as well. So she's young. She's got something to prove. She's quite funny and sarcastic at times, which I think is quite funny. The crew feel. Overall, by the way, this isn't really just Ortega, but overall, everyone feels comfortable because they all know their roles and responsibilities with respect to the world, with respect to the ship and what they're supposed to do there. And so nobody's going to go against the captain, but they are going to voice their opinions. And I find there's a couple of episodes later on where she complains about something, he snaps at her. And she goes, "Yes, sir," and kind of she knows her place, but she's quite happy to voice her very vocal opinions. But yeah, I like her. I think she's a good addition to the crew.
So, I would just go. I'm just going to go back to Spock. I like Spock. I think he's done a great job, but I would agree with you with the Zachary Quinto comment. I think he's doing a slightly better job, but I really like what's his name,
Ethan
Peck. Ethan Peck. I really like him, so doing a good job. And Ortega, I really like her. I'm glad she's there. And the more episodes you watch, you like her more. So, let's go to Captain Pike.
So I didn't know who this guy was. So he's the guy, the shouty guy from Agents of Shield or Inhumans. Inhumans it is.
Inhumans, yeah.
The short-lived Marvel TV show.
Black Bolt, was it? Black Bolt,
Black something or other.
Whatever it is.
He's got a tuning fork in his head.
Yes.
He's in Doctor Strange and the Multiverse of Madness as well.
It is Black Bolt.
Black Bolt, right.
Yeah.
As opposed to Black Noir, which is from another superhero thing.
Yeah.
I really like him. I think he's really good as a captain.
Yeah, definitely.
He's got that kind of Kirk-esque type swagger.
Without being Kirk?
He's more by the book than Kirk. I think he's more Starfleet than Kirk, because Kirk was like, I know what Starfleet says, but my gut tells me.
In the season finale, they addressed that. They
do address it, which I think which I thought was they needed to do it because they need to establish that this is his own man. He's not just a surrogate for Kirk, and just the sort of like how the show is going to go on is he's going to try and do things by the book where possible, whereas Kirk obviously writes his own book.
Yes, absolutely. So, because they do later on make a distinct difference. So I really like him. I like his hair. I like his
hair's glorious. I'm a bit jealous of his hair. The fact that
I like the fact I like the command gold, and I like the fact that in the episode Spock Amok, he actually wears the green. You know, the kind of the Jim Kirk.
He wears the green.
I don't know why they wear the green. I don't know what the green signifies. I can't remember. So, but I like it. Like everything about him. Nurse Chapel, I quite like. I think she's all right. I can't really say too much else about it. I think you probably feel the same.
I think Nurse Chapel, I think, has got more of a cult following than center stage. Like she was always there on sick bay in the original series. So there, because she was the boss's wife, and so
that's right.
You know, she was also the computer as well.
The computer as
right up to
in Next Gen.
Voyager, I think.
Not that.
As well.
Not too long ago.
Yeah. So Majel Barrett, or Majel Barrett Roddenberry, as she became known later on. So the character herself has been in Star Trek since day one, I guess. In fact, no, she wasn't, because she was number one. Majel Barrett was number one in the pilot.
On the pilot? Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah, she was number one, and then they said, no one will believe that a woman could be number one. And so they got rid of number one, made Spock number one, and she got relegated to the sick bay as Nurse Chapel, as a completely new character. But anyway, yeah, Nurse Chapel's fine. It's weird the fact that she doesn't wear. I know she's a nurse, but it's weird the fact she doesn't wear blue, because the nurses in Next Generation wore blue. So
I know. But the medical team in Discovery all wear white. So I don't know where that decision came from. So, but anyway,
I mean, engineers in Undiscovered Country all wear white.
So on to Noonien-Singh. What's her name? Lan Noonien-Singh.
Lan Noonien-Singh, yeah.
And then they didn't. I like her, and I'm looking forward to seeing what happens with her. And because you do not get that name without something's
going to happen. Yeah. It's weird the fact that they've gone with Riley being the enhanced, whereas Noonien-Singh you'd think would be the first one to be enhanced. It's weird because Noonien-Singh, the actress that plays the character, I don't know what it is. Doesn't look anything like her, but she reminds me of Halston Sage in The Orville. She plays Lieutenant Catan, who is the security officer. And I don't know why, but it's like I get confused when I'm looking at it. It's like, it's Lieutenant Catan. It's not. It's Lieutenant Noonien-Singh.
So no, I'm glad she's there. I'm glad that's her name, and we'll look forward to see what's happening with her.
Yeah, interesting.
Number one.
Number one is a bit of an enigma, and I think that's by design.
Mm-hmm.
I thought she'd have a bigger part, to be honest, Rebecca. So yeah, but I mean, in contrast, Erica gets more screen time than Riley, which is a bit strange, given the fact that Riley's the senior officer compared to Erica. She's fine, but I don't really know much about her.
I think she's fine too. I think I think with 10 episodes, you're not going to get that much exploration. Whereas we're going back to Next Gen or the other ones, you're looking to 20 to 24 episodes a season, so it's hard to squeeze all that stuff in. But I think she'll come into her place.
Uhura, I think she's had less screen time with Pike. She's less. There seems to be less of a Riker Picard dynamic.
Aye,
like Picard and Riker were always together.
That's so true.
Back channeling stuff and talking about things. They would obviously bring in the entire senior team into the ready room to sort of like, what do you think? But for the most part, it was Riker and Picard. But you don't really get that in this. That's not really the dynamic that they're going for.
No, it's not. But that's so true what you said there. So, just quickly, let's go through the other ones. Uhura.
Again, I mean, the standout episode of the season so far has been Children of the Comet, which she starred in. That was her show. So yeah, I think she did a good job there. But yeah, I'm kind of looking forward to seeing more of her. They kind of left it kind of hanging towards the end, where they're like, "Will she join the cast of Enterprise?"
I think so far she's probably my fave.
Yeah,
I think she's my I think she's my fave so far. So, Doctor, is it Mbongo?
Mbenga.
Mbenga, right?
Dr. Mbenga.
Yeah, I like him. The mumbler. I like him. And
I had subtitles on at one point.
I think in the last 5, I probably end up liking him more. I like him from when he went fishing, so I like him probably from this episode onwards. I like all the
right,
and especially when he sheds his secret.
Yeah, I mean that whole, we haven't even touched on that story yet. That we'll leave that for part 2. But yeah, I have thoughts. But I definitely think that it wasn't until All Those Who Wander, which is like the 9th episode, that I actually started like, oh, okay, this guy's okay. It's just the character just felt like a wet blanket to me. It just felt,
And then we've got Hemmer. Really, he's probably the last of the main.
Hemmer, yeah.
I would say he's probably up there with Uhura for me. Uhura, Hemmer, and Pike.
And they have a lot of screen time together, Hemmer and Uhura.
Yes, they do.
Yeah, because she gets sick. Because it's you've got to like get seconded to various departments, and she gets seconded to engineering. So they have an episode together because it's quite a heavy engineering episode.
So
I liked him. Andorian.
Yeah, definitely. I was just going to say, seeing towards how. Remember the season we're talking about Spock Amok just before we probably head off. When they're having that meeting room that they've got, where it's almost like it's a meeting room and there's this bad glass, kind of coverage, and you look out and you can see everyone's ships, the solar ships. That is that wall. That is the perfect.
Right. Okay.
That is the perfect. That is that. They're probably turning around and seeing the same thing we're seeing.
Right. I think this kind of stuff really does help. I mean, it's got to help the actors. Because I mean, it feels like you're like. I remember we were talking about this on Sunday, whenever it was. Somebody walked. I think it was George Lucas walked onto the set, and he goes, "Oh, I thought we weren't doing real sets," and they went, "This isn't a real set, George."
That's that too.
Because it's you just look and you go, "Oh, you built the office," and they go, "No, it's like a box."
So the other one that I had to look up was
the stormtroopers weren't even there. That was the other thing. There's 2 stormtroopers standing behind Werner Herzog. They're not even there. It was just projected.
I just projected on. The Admiral. Remember the Admiral who's in the episode, the current episodes. What I wrote his name down. Robert April.
Yes, he's in the first.
Guy who
first one, yeah.
He's in the very first episode. He kind of took him out of exile. I don't know if you've watched the new Will Smith Fresh Prince of Bel-Air.
No.
He's the dad. He's the dad in that.
Oh, he's the Uncle Phil.
He's Uncle Phil. Yeah, okay. Quite a good actor. I quite like him. I think he brings a certain type of weight.
Okay.
To the role, and just makes it just that little bit more believable, if you can believe what we're actually seeing. So,
Robert
overall,
April,
Robert.
He was the first captain of the Enterprise.
Oof.
Fun fact, and Pike took over from.
Oh, that's why he's there. Yeah,
that's why.
I think overall, in closing, I'm thoroughly enjoying it, and I'm thoroughly looking forward to talking about the next 5 episodes, and also season 2.
Yeah, I'm looking forward to season 2 as well, because season 2 is going to have some interesting crossovers with Lower Decks, which is a cartoon. So yeah, not sure how they're going to pull this off, but the Orville managed to pull off being in 2D. So
we'll
see how we go from there.
Fair enough. Good.
But yeah, all right, cool. Well, I think we'll do our usual plea for everyone. So if you like this, hit the old like button and share. Comment below as well. What's your favorite episode of the first 5 episodes? We can talk about the next 5 episodes next time. And if you like what you see so far and you want to see more, then hit the old subscribe button, notification bell. We actually have a live show tomorrow night at 10 p.m. UK time. We're going to be doing episode 4 of She-Hulk. We're going to do a watch along there with Jodie, who isn't here tonight, and we've got our podcast on Sundays as well. So whatever you decide to do, we will see you then. Thanks again.
Nice one.